online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yeah, yes indeed, feed the needy. That's it, my friends. Episode 716. Episode 716. Season 7, episode 16. Shark Tank After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. I am Cameron Lillers. You can follow me at The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram. Follow us at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram. Go to YouTube /AfterBuzz TV. AfterBuzzTV.com. We have an app. Download it. Watch us, listen to us. To my left, these two gentlemen. Introduce yourselves.
That's right. I got to know what After Cam Shaft.
The only camshaft?
Is there a story behind that?
Only camshaft.
It's a rather boring one. I need to make a better story.
There's something to it, though.
A little something.
And I'm Chris Howard. You can reach me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter. You can also find lots of great inspirational, motivational stuff at legendarylivingdaily.com. And you can find me on YouTube at legendarylivingtv.com.
I don't know how to follow that ever. I'm just like,
I know. How do you follow the word legendary?
I know, legendary living. It's something really spiritual.
You can be close.
I guess. I'm James Lott Jr., of course. You know who I am. You can follow me on Twitter at BlackHopeLA. That's BLAK HopeLA on Twitter, and James Lott Jr. everywhere else.
That's right. And Zoe Hewitt is off tonight. We wish her well. You can follow her at Zoe Said What, Twitter and Instagram, as well as her show on YouTube.
She's on assignment, isn't she?
She's on assignment. That's right. Zoe's on tonight on assignment.
Exactly.
We'll have a live report from her at 10:30. Now, so tonight,
where do we send her, by the way?
We send her to do a live report from In the Tank.
From In the Tank.
In the Tank. I like that. In the Tank.
Accidentally sent her to do a dunk tank, but at the circus.
Is she going to be on a squatty potty in the tank?
Thank you for reminding me, Alexis Torres, because here's the thing. By the way, A Torres 890 in the booth.
Yes.
So the real world can hear you too?
That's right.
Yes, they can.
All right.
They know her.
It's okay. It's not just the voices in your head. I'm real this one time.
I'm just going to start. We should do that. I start a show and just say, by the way, this is the voice in our heads.
Yes. And then it's Alexis Torres.
But so last week on episode 15 of season 7, we Squatty Potty wasn't on the episode, but James Lott Jr., you brought a couple Squatty Potties. Now, before we get into tonight's episode, just a quick tease. Did you use yours? Because
Yes, I
used
did.
mine.
I did, and I SU not. It works. Exactly. It totally works.
I'm just saying.
Squatty Potty people, it totally works. It helps everything come out easier.
So it's worth the money, huh?
It's
I'm
worth the
trying
money.
to think of a good analogy.
I can't think of one right now. But
Imagine you have a garbage disposal.
I don't like where this is going.
Me neither.
And then one day you pull the penny that's been clogging it out for years.
I don't think he knows where this is going.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I was hoping the voice in my head would help me discover it.
Nope, that's
What
not.
I'm
I'm also
trying
your
to say-
conscience, so you have to figure that out on your own.
Not fair, not fair. What
It
I'm
works.
trying to say is it's incredibly effective.
no, it seriously is incredibly effective, and I support it completely.
Here's the thing, though, with the Squatty Potty. This was earlier, I think, maybe last season. I forget.
So
but,
just for everybody to know, this is a product that got funded on Shark Tank.
Yes,
if
exactly
you
right.
haven't tuned in,
And they also brought it back for Beyond the Tank. They kind of did an update with that.
Yeah, and but I couldn't figure out how to mount it.
This is a product that you use that helps you to sit at the right
You don't
angle.
He's not
Yes.
talking about the squatty potty anymore.
No, I am still talking about the Squatty Potty.
You don't mount it.
But see, I didn't know. Do you stand on it and then
Right.
sit down?
'Cause
Do
you
you
got
sit
2
down
feet
and
on
put
it.
your feet on it?
You put it under. You put it around the base of the toilet, and you sit down and put your feet on it.
But
I felt like the stupid guy in the back of the commercials where the wife's talking about like a product and she's like, my husband doesn't know how to pull down the blinds. And you see him in the background like, go!
Yes, exactly.
You know the type. You know the type.
I was the type.
in any case, it works. It does work. It
It's very
improves
effective.
the angle of your body.
Yes.
And it's a real product. This product is the shit.
It literally...
Oh, would you look at that? Just look at that.
Chris Howard.
The new guy. It's like-
Chris Howard guarantee right there.
Thank you.
And I want to tell
That's
you,
real.
one of our viewers, Fantasy Stats Guru, says he's obsessed. He needs to go to SP Anonymous. Spotty Potty Anonymous. I like that.
Very nice, fantasy sports guru.
Fantasy Stats Guru.
So why don't we hop into tonight's episode? Some interesting. Again, this is the all. I guess would you say all military episode?
It's
So all of our entrepreneurs were at one time in one branch of the military or another. I like when they do the themed episode.
That was air conditioning that
came on.
I thought it was some cool military music or something.
Nope, that was just me. I'm hungry.
But they did a college age one a couple weeks back. I like when they do stuff like this. So,
this is needed. So it was a themed show.
Yes.
Exactly. So first up in the tank, our Riveter, $100,000, 20% is exactly what they're seeking. It's the recycled, or as they say, upcycled.
That's
military supply handbag company. First thoughts, James Lott Jr.
I only know why I only know about upcycle because I watched a show on one of these weird I think it was on Fuse or something that talked about upcycling. I knew what that mean was taking products already and repurposing them for a greater good, of course. And
you just educated me. Thank you.
And I was
going to ask what exactly is upcycling.
So you're not recycling it; you're turning it into something else that's usable.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's what I liked about that. Okay, so first thoughts, I like the bags. I'm a bag whore. I said it, whore. I'm a bag whore.
We knew
James,
that.
get out.
We talked about this last week with the backpacks,
yes,
right?
Remember bags? See, again, I love bags.
Is that your bag over there?
That is my bag over there.
That's funny.
I love backpacks, bags. So I liked that. I liked the story behind it, and I liked that it was a female-themed kind of spouses thing. That's my first thoughts.
Chris?
Yeah, I dug it. I thought that I love the look of the bag. I like the idea behind it. The idea of getting people that were military spouses working. The whole repurposing of materials in action. I think one of the bags they had was made out of some lieutenant general's pants or something.
I really like that.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Loved the idea. In terms of the valuation and all that, that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, so my first reaction was very similar. I really like the product. I was kind of curious who designs them. They never talked about who comes up with the design.
Yeah.
Now, there's patterns they send out. There's templates they send out to all of the people, which turns out up to 15 people make one of these things. Right. But in college, we had down in Orange County, we had an Army-Navy store that was close by, and so they sold things that were at one time used in the Army or supplies for people that are in the service. And so they would sell things like, old used ammo boxes and such. And I bought a bag there, I think my freshman year, just random satchel, and I still own it. So the material, this canvas material that some of this stuff is made of, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I would have no problem paying what they're asking, which I guess is around $220.
Yep.
Especially, you figure...
It's for a good cause.
Yeah, it's for a good cause,
right.
Number one.
That's
Number two, there's 15 people-ish that are putting blood, sweat, and tears into one of these things. That's pretty crazy. And I was surprised they could make it for $55 a piece, given that all these people are involved. Now, in terms of scalability, are there concerns that this many people are involved in the making of one bag?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, there is. I just wonder, because you do mass, you do more production, can you keep up? Will it wear out the people who are doing it? There's all kinds of stuff, the kind of issues that I would have in terms of the business model of it, kind of like, does it?
Well, they talked about that too. They said that the lead time was going to take 3 months to staff up if they got funds. The thing for me is whenever you have that many moving parts, good example of this, I have a buddy of mine, his name's Scott Mednick. So he was one of the co-founders of Legendary Pictures.
Okay,
and he had to raise $600 million to launch Legendary Pictures. They did like Batman Begins and Superman movies, all those things. So when so I took him. We went and we were doing tours around the world. We were going on these travel trips, and I said, you know what? I'd love to have a television show where I can interview people on business in all these cool places like Machu Picchu or in South Africa.
Yeah.
And he said it would never work. And I said, why would it never work? He said, because what's the selling point is the value of the content. and you could go in studio and knock out 10 shows in one day. That's why Oprah can go in there. There's backdrops. She doesn't have to travel around. He said that's why we're always blown away that The Amazing Race wins so many awards, because we're blown away that they can produce it.
Yeah.
It's like with production costs like that, that's insane.
Yeah.
So when you bring that many people in, you start to look at what the costs of producing something. It to me it seems it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the mix.
And it's a little bit worrying because not only is that a challenge, but it's also like the core of the business, right? That all of these people are involved,
right?
And so
it's neat.
Right.
Yeah,
but in terms of it being
complicated,
if they had said, see, it's a double-edged sword though, because if you come in and say this is what, like the size of the business, the way it is now, we just want to make it this, nobody's going to invest in that because it's sustainable. It's fine. But at the same token, if you go shooting for the stars or something like this, I feel like that's not.
I think it's a cute
necessarily
small
going to
business.
work.
A cute small business.
Although, I loved. Did you see I loved the branding. The branding looked really neat. The look of the bags, the feel of the bags. Yes. They made it off of Rosie, the Riveter, which is.
See, I didn't catch on that.
I'd explain it to him.
Yeah.
Oh, did you explain it to him?
Yeah.
So, see, the old guys here.
But go ahead and explain.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even for me, I had to I heard it the first time, and I had to go back and listen a second time to really remember what it was. And so during World War II, when all when the combat troops went out, they needed to put the women to work. Somebody had to
literally put rivets in like products to send over to the war.
It was the industrial age,
exactly.
And people were needed in the factories, and the women stepped up, and the women, as they always do, ladies, I'm winning points here. I'm not stupid. But the ladies stepped up and they came in and they did that. So it was based off of this woman that was in kind of an archetype for
she was.
ladies. Yeah.
And when he showed all the ladies, and I was like, okay, I get it. And because at first he was concerned about the name, I said, no, the name actually makes sense for the product and what it stands for. But I just think it's a good small business, and that maybe you should sell to like online or a few little specialty boutique stores, maybe. But I think you should keep it small.
I almost think that Rosie the Riveter is a better name for the company.
I can't say that. It may be taken.
I think our Riveter. I don't get it.
Riveter. Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. It could be trademark or something, but
could be.
But our Riveter,
to me, it goes with the bag.
I don't know.
I think they can grow the company. I think there's no doubt about it. I love the model. It's so neat.
I really like it. Yeah,
I like it.
It's just they're doing something good. And what was interesting to see? Did you guys notice Kevin O'Leary's his reactions to people? He was so much softer in this episode than usual.
I found that in terms of, I feel like this season especially, he's been investing in the person more than he has in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think
he said that. I think he said that a couple episodes ago. He's like, I'm like really kind of, he's making these choices that are not like he used to.
Now, one thing they brought up, and I think this is interesting, is they said that the target for the business is mostly people who are in the service or related to people that are in the service. I think this has an appeal outside of that.
I do too. I agree.
To a large extent.
Totally agree.
I agree. I think because they're in it, they see that first.
Yeah, 100%. And that makes total sense.
Right.
I was really happy that there was several different offers here. Now, they were asking $100,000 for 20%. Damon is out. He said he couldn't add value, which I was kind of surprised by.
It surprised me, but kudos to him because it says something about his character. I think it was sincere that he didn't feel that he had any value that he could give them, that they probably knew the business better than he did, which is an interesting point to be made for entrepreneurs, because a lot of times I bet you people go out there, in fact, I know it to be true, and he stated it, is that they'll go out there and give the company away to somebody who knows less than they do. Yeah. Because they assume that they're going to know more and be able to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I like when the Sharks do that. Instead of slamming the person, they just simply say, I can't add anything.
Right.
And I respect that. The one thing I do think, I agree with the others that were going in here, because I do think there's value in getting a partner from the tank with this particular business.
I agree.
So I don't know that
I'm with you on that too.
I don't know that I would agree with Damon in general, but obviously for him, if he thinks he can't add value, 100%. But so we got offers from Kevin, Rob, and Mark, $100,000 for 20% all across the board, which is exactly what they were asking for. Kevin actually thought they were asking for 10%.
Yeah.
and he was ready to offer something shortly above that,
No kidding.
which I thought was interesting. But
he
the
was
one that
first
ended
in.
up
He was
getting,
first
he was
in.
first in.
He was first
The
in.
one that ended up getting the deal, Mark, because he provided that he would give credit for future purchase
Equipment
orders.
and
And
inventory.
there goes the AC.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For
For future purchase orders and equipment and all that, which
That's a big deal.
It's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
It is.
huge.
It is.
And I do think that of the three, Mark's a good choice.
I think he would have been the best choice.
Yeah, I think
Maybe good.
that's a good one. Any last thoughts on
I
our
personally,
Riveter?
I like Robert. Robert has the countenance and the personality that I like the most. I think he's a real good stand-up guy, and Mark's really friendly and he's super intelligent. But I think Mark was the best fit for them on that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. And I even though there's an interest from Kevin, and even though Kevin probably has pure intentions, I think any business that has another aspect to it other than just making the money,
Right.
it's maybe you should steer away.
Steer away from Kevin.
Because at the end of the day, it's always going to be about
What you're
100%
getting.
making the money.
Yeah, totally.
So
I
if,
want a
if
bag.
Tom's Shoes came in and pitched to him, there's no way. Don't
Yes.
take the deal with Kevin.
So, by the way, for any of you that were on the show tonight, we'd love to have you on here. This would be cool. I would love to. Have
Absolutely,
Ladies.
my God. So
Ladies.
that is a general note, by the way.
Yeah.
James Lott Jr. and I were talking about this before the show, Chris. I loved everybody in
Me too.
tonight's show.
Yeah, that was
Or this past week's show.
I'd work with anybody on this show. That was
They
on the
were
show.
all really great.
I agree.
The
out.
businesses, I have opinions obviously on all of them, but they were all really, really great.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. They all had good intentions. That's what they all had. There was a place they came from that I thought was really nice to see in business.
Yeah.
In business and in the military, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect, because on all of these, there's really there's kind of a heart-centered space
Yes.
that they're coming from,
agree.
or at
Yeah.
least on most of them.
No, I agree. I think
Absolutely.
there was.
Yeah.
There was. It came from the heart. I do
Yeah.
believe that.
Any final thoughts on our Riveter?
I want a bag. Send me a bag at
I
AFTERBUZZ
really
TV.
want one. I really want
I
one.
want one. I do. I want one.
I want the ladies to come in here.
I want them to come
Yes,
and bring
no,
bags.
And their
Absolutely.
husbands are ranger trainers. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
That's very cool.
That
I know
is very
it's
cool,
That's
yeah.
very cool.
That's I mean,
Both of them. And we want your husbands to come with you.
Yeah, please.
the one thing I really enjoy about this episode is you get to see how hard working these people are.
Ooh, I'm sure.
It's amazing. I mean, especially, our Riveter ladies were great. The Bear Tech guys were great. Major Mom, even though she didn't get a deal, and we'll talk about that in a bit, I'm just like, I want to work with this lady.
Oh, we'll talk about that, yes, because I'm
You
an
know?
organizer.
Oh, yeah, he's an organizer,
We're
so
going to talk
he's-
My
about
God,
that.
I'm excited about that one. So anyways, that's our Riveter. Up next in the tank, Bear Tech. The glove that controls your phone, $500,000 for 5%. Woo!
I know, that was like,
Steep!
I know.
$10 million valuation.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. Anybody now,
Good
I don't know
Lord.
about you guys. This isn't a slight against these guys. Again, we said we loved everybody tonight, but anybody that comes into the tank seeking anything
Mm-hmm.
below 10%, I'm immediately going, it's for the press.
Yeah, I know. I
Instantly.
agree. I do.
For the press? For
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
It's what the Shark Tank gold diggers. So
Right.
it's
Yes.
the people who come on
Yes, that's true.
and they're literally there, so they get the views and they get the website clicks.
Yes.
Right.
Because everybody's site crashes when their
Yeah.
episode
Oh, yeah.
airs. So
Oh, yeah.
there's some value into just appearing on the show,
Oh, yeah, there is.
obviously.
There is.
But again,
Hopefully, unless they rip you apart. Well, even then. Any
Even then,
Even then,
even then.
any
people are
press
like,
is good press,
I
right?
like
that's
it.
Yeah.
A pizza that's a mask, I'll take it.
Sign me up, please.
Yes, eat it while you wear it. Use as directed. Write that one down. I gotta
Got it.
Gotta
Got
pitch
it.
that one later.
Got
Legal
it.
Zoom. We're going right now.
Legal Zoom, let's do it.
So anyway,
LLC.
so this is the company now. This one I will say.
Bear Tech, yeah.
Yeah, this one confused me a bit.
Okay.
Because they kept going back and forth, right? So they pitched the glove up front.
Yes.
Now, this is the glove that controls your phone, as I said. There's a module which fits in the back of the glove.
Yes.
You touch your fingers together, and it's for pausing, for fast forwarding, rewinding, volume up, volume down, all that.
Which they
I get.
demonstrated pretty well.
Yeah, and it seemed
The
to
way
be
they did the
working well.
demonstration, yeah.
Now, the one thing they never explained was why the module? Why isn't it just built into the glove? They showed that it's removable, and they kind of beat around the bush and said that the module really is the proprietary part of the company, but they never really
It never
went
anywhere.
into it.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what that means, and that part kind of confused me, and
I think it
hoping we
confused the
can
Sharks
find-
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the other thing was, and again, I love these guys because they're hardworking, but they kept saying that this is not just a glove company, yet they didn't show us how they were going to expand
Yep.
things in the future. I mean, what did you guys think, Chris?
I think you summed it up.
And you did,
There it
but
is.
yeah,
I mean, you said it. Yeah,
seriously, yeah. I mean, it's like because basically they're selling gloves.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
they had this little pocket on the thing. They kept saying, "We're not just a glove company. We're not okay. So what are you?"
Yeah.
And the conversation ended there, and I think that's why it didn't go anyplace. I mean, for somebody to give $500,000 of their money for 5% of something that's so speculative and that they can't put any kind of substance to a vision of the future or cause us to believe that yes, there's a really good reason to believe why this is going to pay off. And ultimately, I think that's it. I mean, it's like. Could there be potential military applications? Yeah, there could, but there's a big difference between could.
But what is it?
Yeah, what is it? And why do I have certainty that I'm going to get my money back?
Exactly. No, one thing I was thinking of in that same respect is first of all, not everybody wears gloves, right? There's a percentage of people in the world, in the U.S., however you want to factor it.
Listen up, everybody.
Gloves.
No glove, no love.
That's right.
What?
It's I believe that's a Socrates quote.
That's an old time quote from the early 80s and 90s.
There's a percentage of people, right, that only use gloves depending where you're at, right?
Yeah.
So like right now, we're not wearing gloves.
Right, it's 85 degrees
what
in
I
LA.
want to know
So
is what is that? What's the subsection of that percentage? That uses their phone while they're using the gloves.
Well, my thing
you know
is,
what I mean?
No, my thing is like during the wintertime, they have those gloves with a sensitive touch, so you can use your phone because when you're somewhere it's cold, you can't take your gloves off. So I would say during the wintertime in certain climates, that would be great. Yeah. But other places, other times, like in summer and spring, most places, you're not wearing gloves.
No, and I do not buy that people use this in their car.
Right.
At all. Because you're not wearing gloves in the car.
No.
I'm doing the O.J. Simpson AfterBuzz show right now, too, so this would be very
would be
very relevant. There's some connections.
So I really want to know. No, but I really want to know what that number is, right?
Yeah.
What is the number of people that actually use their phone while using the gloves?
That was their whole point, though. That was it. It's beyond the gloves, but they couldn't make the point.
Right.
So there wasn't a point to be made, and they didn't get a deal, and I think it was right for them not to get a deal. I think it's neat.
It's really neat. No, I love, stuff like this, you watch it and you're like, this is futuristic. This is the stuff you see in movies when they're touching the air and controlling the computer screen.
Right.
Tom Cruise, that kind of, what is that, Minority Report?
Minority
That's
Report,
it,
well, they said they did proof of concept. Basically, that's all they did. They proved the concept.
Right.
Now they need a track record and some pre-sales and get some evidence.
And it costs like $200 to $275.
Here's the thing.
For gloves.
That's way too much.
That's way too much.
Maybe. See, like when I heard that number, I thought, okay, if the gloves were really cool and did all this stuff, is there a market? I bet you the market would be there but there was no vision to it. Because if there were really military applications, like they were saying, that you could do the night guard, and it was more precise than voice activation. Yeah, and that was their point, was that the voice activation can be imprecise. Then you can see, all right, there's something there, but it was way too vague, and nobody's willing to put $500,000 out for that type of.
But here's my thing.
Yeah. No, go for it.
I'm going to say my thing. They didn't look attractive either. So I mean, if I'm going to pay $275 for some gloves, I want to make sure they look cool and different. I think maybe I might pay that price.
Yeah, I think that was kind of. And again, this goes back to what is the company. That was kind of my biggest confusion, because are you going towards a military application or are you going towards snowboarders?
Right,
These are very different applications.
Yes, they are.
And if you're going towards snowboarders, you need to be able to do this with it.
Yes.
Right.
I wanted them to have a microphone on the pinky and a speaker on the thumb, so you could just do this.
That would have been really cool.
Phone.
That would have been really cool. That would have added something for me. And then the question once again always comes up: where is there a patent for that? And
they didn't talk about that.
They didn't say anything about a patent. And if there's no patent. I mean, it's a little bit trickier to the technology side than it was last week when we were talking about the bra that keeps you up. I mean, that technology, if that's not patented, everybody's going to knock you off.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Whereas this technology is a little bit more interesting and unique.
That makes me wonder if that's the reason behind the module thing. Because maybe that's what they could patent and not the technology if it was just built into the glove.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Or if the module's like their secret recipe, like the syrup in Coca-Cola or whatever it is. I don't know, but I'm surprised there wasn't talk of a patent, and I just don't know. I don't know patent law enough to know if that's patentable. Well, I'm going to look into that. I'll come back with some info on that.
Do that. So let's touch on this really fast before we move on. $500,000 for 5%. We talked about it briefly,
Yeah.
but after they say their sales, $200,000 in the past 15 months. Now that's 1,500-ish units. That how does the $10 million valuation come about?
I agree.
It's speculative growth, and there's no way that any smart person would throw money down on that unless they had the foresight themselves, and then they'd want much more of the company, and they'd want to have much more ownership, and yeah.
And even then, you come in sometimes, and the people say, 200,000, 20%, and sales next year projected. We have pretty good growth, projecting them to be around that. That's a different story. They didn't share any sales projections.
They shared nothing.
So it's like, wait a second. That's just based on a guess. I don't know.
And the guy also, one of the guys said he worked in a lot of startups. He put his own money, put in $500,000 into his
Which
business.
Again brings me back to a point I asked last week.
Yep.
And I still don't know my own answer on it, to be honest.
Motivation?
It comes back to, do you invest in a serial entrepreneur or not? And I think it could probably be just case by case.
Yeah,
I
probably.
suppose.
Yeah, probably.
I think my initial thing is saying no, but then it might be case by case if I like the person.
Yeah.
But my initial thing is no.
I mean, if they're a fireball and they have a track record of success at knocking things out of the park,
then maybe, yeah.
But you know what? Even though I think all of us agree with the Sharks, we'd still love to have these guys on here. This would be cool.
Yes, no, again, it's
it's
it fascinates me.
Yeah.
I want to know how it's made. I want to know how they thought of it. They shared a little bit about that, but these guys are great.
They are.
I just don't. I think in terms of at least what we saw. Again, they shoot these things for an hour and a half, so we don't know what we didn't see.
For me, the point is, like, if you're going on that show, you got to sell them on a vision that's a vision of certainty, where they have certainty that they're going to get their money back, and no vision of. I always tell when I coach entrepreneurs and stuff, it's like. It's all about certainty. Do you have a vision? Are you able to communicate that vision with enough certainty where somebody else has belief, not based on BS but based on fact that they're actually going to get a return on investment and it's something worth investing in? And they weren't able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, also, when you go on Shark Tank, season 7, hopefully you've watched an episode or 2 of Shark Tank at this point. You kind of know some of the points that they want you to hit.
Watched 2.
Well, you got 2. At least you watched 2. You know what they want to know.
To that point, though, James,
at this point, in season 7, any show's been on for a long time. Do your research, and kind of you can pick out points of what a lot of the sharks are looking for. So if you come in half cocked or whatever, just kind of like, I don't want. We know this. We're watching the show. We know they're gonna be like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm telling you, to that same point, it's amazing to me how many businesses appear on the show. Do or do not get an investment, doesn't matter.
Right.
And the next day, their website crashes.
Yeah, I know.
It happens to some ridiculous, like 75, 80% of the business.
It's like the Oprah effect. You
Build
get
that
near
back
them,
in.
and all of a sudden, everything just, seriously, whenever she talks about it, she says, I like AfterBuzz cups, and all of a sudden, AfterBuzz goes crazy. They're just Shark Tank's the same way.
It's insane.
It's the same way.
It's insane.
It's the same here on AfterBuzz. After show shark stuff, come on here and you get the same time.
We'll talk about
That's
it.
right.
Bring some gloves.
We have an effect of our own.
Speaking of that, let me remind
It's called
everybody.
the Cameron effect.
Boom! About the Cameron effect. It's more of the James Lott Jr. effect. But
Yeah, it actually
subscribe to that podcast in iTunes. Rate us, give us 5 stars. Comment on the YouTube channel. A couple people have been doing that. We appreciate that. Use the hashtag ABTV Shark Tank. And while you're there, you can check out some other shows we do here at AfterBuzz TV or one of our sister networks, Popcorn Talk, Black Hollywood Live, Book Circle Online. Lots of great. James Lott Jr. hosts, I think, at every network now.
I do.
So you should check some of those out.
Yes.
Up next, Major Mom, $150K for 20%.
Major Mom.
The professional.
you're still there.
Hello there.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say that advice again. What was that about the gloves again?
No glove, no love.
Are you going to play us a sound effect?
I was just asking.
I was just asking.
think
Give it to us, Chris.
Give us a sound effect.
Well, you got to say it first.
No glove. No, where's the sound effect?
No glove.
You just say it first.
After you say it, she'll hop it in.
No glove, no love.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by the Cameron
The
effect.
Cameron effect.
Camera effect.
Finally in Toys R Us near you.
So
So Major Mom, 150K for 20%. She is the professional organizer, the only company that embodies military values. James Lott Jr.
Yes.
This is all you, bud.
This is me.
I want to know, I want to hear it from the super organizer himself.
Yes.
What do you think of Major Mom?
And you know he's organized what he's going to say.
He has note cards right there.
I have note cards, guys. I'm all organized.
I saw it 2 days ago on Twitter, man.
Yeah, exactly. I have note cards for every single one of these products. Okay.
Time to nut up or shut up.
Yes.
Totally. Okay, so for me, this made me very excited. I sat up in my love seat when I saw organizer. As those of you guys may not know, I'm the super organizer, and I'm a professional organizer for the last 7 years.
You're part of a...
Thank you.
Yeah, you're part of like an organizational group, like an association even. You're the real deal.
I am the real deal.
Wow.
I am it. I'm also certified. I'm also a certified life coach too. Thank you. I'm a certified life coach too. Okay, so here's the deal. So I was happy to see her come on, and the first thing I looked at was, what is her angle? There's a million professional organizers out there. You got to forget what their angle is. Like my angle is I work with people who are restarting their lives. So it could be widowhood, divorce, adult children, that kind of thing. So hers is military. It's like, okay, got it. So you can imagine already what that means. That her organization thing is probably just like she learned in the military.
Structured.
Very structured, very, that's not my thing. But I liked her. I liked her personality. I think she was very earnest. And I too thought about franchising a few years ago, my business. And I talked myself out of it for exactly what we were talking about. For exactly what they say. It's easier just to take for me to find people like her that have the same kind of dedication, the same kind of drive like her in an organized setting. To franchise is going to be hard. And it's not like it's a restaurant or a shoe store or something where people can easily get into it. And organizing is actually a lifestyle. It's an attitude. And you're selling a lifestyle and you're selling an attitude to people. That may not translate as well in a franchise.
Yeah, I mean,
with that attitude.
That's my main reservation with it too. And obviously, I know nothing about personal organization.
Yes.
No, but he's certified and you're certifiable. So
there we go. There we go.
There's a connection.
I like
here.
that. I like that, Chris.
Yes. He's good.
But that was my main knee-jerk reaction as well. It's like this isn't a Chick-fil-A, right? So it's harder for people to come in and do a business that's based off of a person and their personal skills versus the way the company works. Because what would bother me as a consumer is if I approach this business and said, hey, organize my life, and then knowing that there's a potential that somebody like me was hired to organize, it looked like the inside of a Ross dress for less.
And a bad feeling about this.
Exactly.
You bring up a really good point because not everyone can organize.
Yeah.
The people who think they can, I do talks on this all the time. They think they can organize, but they're not. It's not organizational. So I'm afraid these franchisees, they have to go through some kind of training. I mean, you just have to be something. It seems too hard.
Yeah, and you gotta love Major Mom because her intentions are really pure.
Yes.
She said it herself, which backfired, but she said she wanted to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to have fun. She wanted to help people organize, and I love that intention.
No, but what she said to them,
from a business perspective, it's concerning. But it's...
See, for me, the real pullout is the no glove. No, the real pullout is the... the real pullout is the... thank you. Yeah.
There it is.
The real pullout is the amount of money that somebody can make with this franchise. I know that she's telling them that they're going to make $30,000 in their first year, and one of the sharks said it. I don't remember who said it first, but the whole idea: you buy a franchise, you want to go and get a KFC with the expectations of doing $1 million in a year, not 30,000. To put down 20 grand for the potential of making 30 grand. I just see it as being too small and not scalable and just going no place really.
True.
Yeah, I agree, and it's one of those things too. Like if you start a business, what's the saying that small business isn't profitable in the first 3 years, right?
Right. And
but
mine wasn't.
This is different because there's a certain level of guarantee, quote unquote, with a franchise, and so the fact that they would only be making $30,000, there's nothing really attractive about that. You could invest that.
Doesn't make
something else
doesn't
and
make
have that return probably. Yeah, no.
Because I'm telling
not.
you, as a professional organizer myself, that's a decent salary just on your own as a professional organizer. Because it's hard to. Professional organizing and organization is considered a elective kind of offer thing. It's like it's not considered a necessary service for many people. It's like housekeeping and things like that, where they are big industries, but they're not considered like necessary things like plumbing or electricians.
Right.
It's like these are elective things. When you get why can't you organize yourself? I mean, I get all the questions. That's all that kind of stuff. But
I understand the need for you, my friend.
You know, I know I'm sure you do.
Yes.
I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Is that, so the franchisees will have some. I know. It's like, oh, we love each other. The franchisees that they have to encounter so many different issues that us regular professional organizers deal with every day.
Yeah.
And retaining customer. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it. Trust me.
Speak to that a little bit, because that's something I'm curious about. What is customer acquisition like in this kind of business? Because it's not something that you can necessarily, in my opinion, that you can necessarily teach people in a quick video or a flyer or something.
You can't. And it's well, you're the brand, obviously.
Yeah.
So it all comes from whoever you are. So I mean that starts from there. And to get customers, you're dealing with people's personal stuff.
Yeah.
Or you're dealing with corporate culture. It depends on where you decide to make your target market. And you're dealing with people again who it's an elective thing. If they have the money to give to you to do this, you have to really work with whatever they're giving you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it could be, it's very personal. So a lot of times it could be you'll get them one time. That's it. You'll get them one time, one session.
What do you think? What do you think is like? What is the average return percentage?
Well, it's funny. It's for everybody. I can't speak there, but I'm
sure yours is very high.
Yeah, people because my personality and because I am skilled, but I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So my personality really sells it. So I have a high retention rate. The thing is, organizing is two parts: initial organization and then maintenance.
Now, let me ask you one question. Are you able to talk about your prices on?
I can't.
You can't because
I'm
of
part of NAPO,
association.
so I can't.
Really,
Yes,
so
I can.
that's unfortunate. Because I mean, for me, if I were to market, because I do have some expertise in terms of the customer acquisition process, and if I were to do it, I would have a package that was like a $2,000 package.
Oh, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Her packages were fine.
What were the package prices?
She said
It was $288
for 4 hours, and
Right.
for 46 hours, about $2,088 for 6 hours. Like,
Yeah, so for me, you can target a certain target market with Facebook advertising, which
can.
is really effective from a psychographic, demographic, the whole bit. Do a webinar that captures the people, and then have a conversation with them. And I see the customer acquisition process as not being that difficult.
It is.
For a high-end sale.
It is. It's not that simple.
But the only thing is, even when,
organizing.
and this is complete outside of perspective, America. These two people right here, I can assure you have more business experience than me, but says the lead host of the AFTERBUZZ show for Shark Tank.
You should be lead host or me.
So-
No, he's
We'll be right back. Now, but
Yes.
just from hearing what you just said,
Yes.
that isn't teachable, I don't think.
No.
I mean, it might be. It might be somewhat teachable, but just having heard what you said,
Which
the way you
aspect?
described, just how he's talking about his customers, his experience, his know-how, how he said, it's about the person, I'm a cheerleader, these types of things. You can't teach people to be a cheerleader all of the time.
You can teach
sometimes.
them you're saying,
Sometimes.
you can teach them the business parts. Like how to set up a business and how to get that going.
Right.
And the marketing part.
Oh, the people skills and all that type of stuff. If
It's
you're
all
saying
to
that's
that.
the X factor, that's the.
Which would be, it's like, let's franchise therapists. It's like
Right.
it's people
Right.
going to therapy. Not all of them are good at it
Right.
because of the people skills. So
See, I've done pretty well with that. I built I'm going to brag here a little bit.
Do
but I
it,
don't-
Chris.
Do it.
No, I
this
was
is now
blessed,
the
yeah.
Chris Howard effect.
This is the Chris Howard effect. No, but I helped to build more $1 million plus speakers, authors, coaches, consultants than anybody else in several countries around the world over almost a decade.
Okay. Okay.
No, so there's some of that type of stuff I think is transferable. You can if you it's just like a franchise. If you break it down into modules, you can teach those things. But I am with you in terms of that X factor, that people factor.
Yeah.
What makes one personal trainer spectacular and cause all their clients to stay with them versus the one that just can't do it. So it's not like you can take everybody and turn them into the super organizer or the super. It's so I'm 100% on board with that. And I also know that there's certain aspects of business or customer acquisition and automation that can all happen online, where you get you put out X and Y pops out the other side.
And you have to understand that the professional organizing business is about I think about around maybe 25, 30 years old now. So it's still relatively kind of a newer business.
Yeah.
It's getting more attention. Not everybody knows what an organizer is. I'm constantly telling people what I do. They'll hear it and they'll go, well, is that hoarders? And I literally have only one hoarder. I've never really worked with hoarders except for one person.
Which, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a percentage of the business.
That's a percentage, but it's not that much. And and 95% of it is women. It's a business that's 95% women.
I believe that.
And I've gone to the conferences, and I'm like, I stand out. Trust me, for many reasons. But a lot of the people that come into these, they do come from different backgrounds. Some come from sales. But when you find out, it's not really sales based either. It's not. You're selling, but you're not selling because it's personal people's stuff and it's their emotions, their feelings, and it's a harder. It doesn't say it can't be. Obviously, it can be done. I'm doing it, and people do it. And you got like people like that are doing it all over the world. But it's a little different. So franchising, that's what talked me out of it. It was kind of like, just grow my business. Just stay where I'm at and grow my business.
And that's because you're the magic. You're the X factor.
Now, before we move on to combat flip-flops, because then we know we want to get to that, is there, because I'm very ignorant about franchising businesses. I just know like what I know and friends and family that have gone into franchises. I have a friend that has a Steak and Shake franchise.
Oh, I love Steak and Shake. Oh my God, the best shakes. The best shakes. Love it. Love it.
But how selective is that process, right? So if you're going into a franchise for, say, Burger King.
Yeah.
Can anybody who forks over $20,000 get a franchise?
I think they certainly have a some sort of a application process. I don't know. They must because in the end, if you're the franchisor, you want successful franchisees. Yes. Otherwise, you've got to take the license back because of branding concerns.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they have their application process because I thought of franchising my business at one point. At one point I was doing $1 million in sales at every weekend seminar that I taught. So I was teaching these every weekend around the world. Mm-hmm. I had 40 coaches that were training simultaneously all over the planet. And I thought, you know what? I want to take this out there and I want to franchise it. And Dale Carnegie, here's a perfect example. Dale Carnegie Training is the most. Right now, they are making more in revenue than any other training company in the world. They're doing about it's only about $130 million right now in revenue. Used to be $250,000. There's been some hard times as of recent with the recession and that type of thing. But most of the franchises of Dale Carnegie Training, which has coaching, which has training, that type of stuff, are doing about $1 million per franchise organization gross.
Okay.
Gross. So, which to me says yes. Is it transferable? Yes. If you've got an entrepreneur that's got some, they've got something behind them, they've got some fire, and they've got that $1 million in their sight. They want to, that's a goal that they'd like to hit. $30,000 is just not going to. You're not going to tap into that entrepreneurial spirit for people. It's just not going to happen. But in a business that is a personal organizer, to your point, is back to that. There is that X factor. That's like the personal trainer. It's like people like the person that they're working with, and that's part of the magic, rather than being a systemized thing like Dale Carnegie Training. And I think that's what you were saying.
Yes, it is. Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Because I actually see the parallel between that and a personal trainer.
It's real simple.
You're saying it perfectly. It's exactly that. Because you're working so closely with your clients. Not just selling them something or giving them something. You're actually working with them.
Yeah.
And it's very personal.
But this is terribly interesting, my friend.
That's what I do every day.
This is why I love doing this after show at AFTERBUZZ TV, right here. The Cameron Effect.
I think that's a better title for you. I think we've discovered your brand.
We have.
Damn. Unfortunately, it's
on the job
normally Squatty Potty jokes. But, so Major Mom did not end up getting a deal. But, I think she has something here.
Major Mom,
now, I don't
find
know.
me, superorganizer.com.
Yes, we should have Ron, because that would be a very interesting
I'd love to have
interview.
Ron. We'll talk about
But I think she definitely has a business.
Yes.
Small scale.
Yes.
Large scale, we can speculate.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. I'll be interested to find out. But no, any other thoughts on Major Mom?
Nope, that's good.
No.
Moving on.
Organizers.
Combat flip flops. Now, I said early on, when we saw them walk into the tent,
What'd you think?
I said combat flip flops is getting a deal.
Yes, he did say that.
Because of all the businesses
Did you guys watch
tonight,
this together?
We did today.
Earlier before,
okay.
yeah. You're welcome to join, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
You know, nobody asked me. But.
Well, come on by. Come on
Chris,
by.
you and I can watch the show together.
Okay,
We'll have,
We'll just push them out.
we'll have the folks from Milk and Brookies send over some treats.
Ooh, yes.
But the second I saw, one thing I identify with a lot is brand.
Yeah, me too.
If something has a strong brand, I just like.
Me too.
He got it in.
You got it in.
Combat flip flops.
That's what she said.
Yes. Had a great look, right? The
Yes,
logo
I love
in and
the
of itself.
logo.
I love logo design.
I want a T-shirt.
You know
Love
what?
logo design.
Somehow I missed it.
We'll
We'll have to look at it again, but it was.
Yeah, it's a good logo.
The thing that was great about it is like, you know how sometimes with these businesses that involve other things, like the army-related businesses we're talking about tonight, or not necessarily army, military-related businesses. If you've ever been to an Army-Navy store, like I was talking about earlier, they all look like Army-Navy stores, right? They have camouflage and this, that,
Cool
and the
stuff.
green and all that.
Night goggles,
and
vision
so,
goggles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so,
Yes.
and which
Rambo
the
knives.
specificity of that is great, but at the same time, it can be alienating. And what was great about their look from the get-go was it was clean, A.
I agree.
It looked cool,
Yes.
B. And C, you could see a little bit of a glimmer of the relation to the military.
I do.
Which I think was perfect. Because it was all three of those things. We have Alexis trying to look stuff here.
We get to look at live photos.
Sorry, I was trying to see if I can find it.
Type in
It's a great-
combat flip-flops Shark Tank. And you should
It's a
come up with
great
something.
logo. I was surprised you didn't catch it. It's a really
Great
good
logo. So they were seeking
that.
$150,000 for
Yeah.
10% of the company. They do flip flops and a couple of other
Sarongs, jewelry.
lifestyle
Is this
things.
it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
that's
it.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't see it from the glare.
Blow that up if you could,
I will try.
and we'll share this stuff later on
Yeah.
as well, so you guys will be able to see. But
Made in Bogota, Colombia.
That is so neat.
talk
Yeah, I
to
like
me
that.
about your first thoughts, Chris. What do you think
My
of
first
combat
thoughts, I thought it was
flip-flops?
fantastic. I mean, I love the social entrepreneurial feel
Yes.
to this. That's what hit me. You know, I remember I was in Cambodia, and there's a group out there called Friends International that take kids off the streets, and you know where they would wind up in prostitution or something like that. They take them in, they teach them skills, and then they've got restaurants that the kids will actually go work in, and they'll work a job, but they skilled them up to do it. And the restaurant, for example, would then fund the education for other kids that they're pulling off the streets.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's a self-funding model for doing good. And this reminded me so much of that, and I just think I love that. There's magic in it, and I like these two guys.
Yeah, I really did.
You know, what are they, Navy SEAls or something, or Rangers? Army Rangers, are they? I want these two guys to come in. The one guy reminded me of Matthew McConaughey. He's like,
Yes.
all right. You know, you guys want to do a deal or
Had to buy a
what?
flip flop in 10 days.
We were just out there in Afghanistan, and you know, but it's so cool. You guys, we want you here.
Yes.
Because these guys are deadly warriors, but he looks like Matthew McConaughey, and you know, just kind
It's the best. You still
and
feel
he's
like you can
and he's
hug him.
social entrepreneurial. What more
Yeah.
could you want?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the women at home are just like, "What?" Loving this guy.
Yes.
And many
And
of the guys.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
I'll
many of
admit,
the guys,
too. That's right.
I'm a straight male, and I was like, wait a second, okay. I dig
You're
it.
straight? Okay. Okay, so.
Dun dun dun.
But no, so I loved, again, Chris, you hit the nail on the head. I loved it for that reason. I like human investments. And they still have the business end of this worked out. You know, it's obviously concerning when people go too far with, when I say too far, I don't mean like, you're in danger, you're hurting people. But
Right.
when you go too far in the direction of the
Charity.
social effect and
Yeah.
charity, it no longer becomes viable. And that's where the concern is in terms of investment. But these guys, I feel like they have a good balance. And the thing that was different about this than, say, a couple of these other businesses we've seen this season is they didn't only invest in their own business and then also, you know, giving money to people who are in need, blah, blah, blah. They, in turn, were investing in other people that were investing in other people.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this woman that they spoke about,
Yeah.
who was originally from Afghanistan, got over to the States, went back to Afghanistan to invest the money she had made in the United States over in Afghanistan, into the people, into the women. They get empowered and run this factory and all these things. That's the kind of investment. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It's people, investing in people, and it's
Yes.
the circle of life.
What was neat is
the
it-
circle that comes back, and I don't know. I love it. I love this type of thing.
It came out as an afterthought too. It didn't come out as a part of the marketing spins, which let me know that it was really coming from a really neat place. They said, yes, we're matching what she's doing out there.
Yes,
but they didn't. It wasn't prepared. It came out organically and real, and it's like, man, these guys are really
I totally
some cool
agree
dudes.
with that, because sometimes people come in and say, yeah, we're the company that makes flip-flops and gives this lady money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I completely agree.
Cool dudes.
I completely agree.
And they're in the armed services. They fought for the country.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, look, they're caring more about the people in these other countries than they're caring about what did they say? Bullets above.
Bullets.
Or no.
Bullets before bullets. Oh, I forgot. I didn't write it down either.
I wrote it down somewhere.
I like their slogan: "Bad for running, worse for fighting."
Yes.
I think
Yes.
And I found this too: business over bullets.
Business over bullets.
Yes.
That's it. I love that.
Which was Mark's point, because Mark said,
yes,
that's what we need if we get, if we bring some of these countries that are living in abject poverty, if we bring them up to a place where they're doing business, they might not have some of the problems they have because it's bad for business.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Well, now I'm gonna rain on a parade. A second.
Rain away.
No. Just to make a quick point.
Relax.
Making a quick point.
We just have a couple minutes left.
I know, so I'm watching I'm not the lead host. I'm watching the time. I lead too many shows. It was my quick point. I can't get it out. I do have a problem. There's too many things. I agree with some of them. It was too many products.
I agree with that.
I just think that sometimes you have to start with one or two, get them big, then you unveil other products.
Yeah.
You get a brand going, and then people start to look out for other stuff. You branch out.
One of the great examples of that in the Shark Tank that we actually saw an update in Shark Tank, and we also saw an update on Beyond the Tank in the first season, was Tipsy Elves.
Yes.
Who had a great business of these ugly sweaters blowing up.
Oh, I know.
And I believe it was Robert that had to deal with them, and they wanted to go out and do these 6-7 different sweaters.
Yeah, they're like, slow down, kids.
In one quarter. And he's like, what are you doing?
Right.
This, A, you don't need this many SKUs.
Yes.
B, this is not even on brand anymore.
Right.
And it was like, this isn't even cool anymore. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really interesting.
So I think I like the flip-flops. They were nice.
Diversification can do you in the beginning.
Now here's the thing.
Yes.
They came in $150,000 for 10%, and I think that these guys are smart entrepreneurs because they took a great deal, in my opinion. Kevin, Lori, Mark, $300,000 for 30%.
Yep.
Each one of these three people brings three completely different things to the table. And I think it's going to be great.
What do you think made him jump in?
What do the Sharks?
The Sharks. What was the tipping point?
So Mark, it's the bullets over, or not that, the business over bullets. I almost did the opposite.
I
know. Lori, investing in women.
Yes.
And who else was it? Damon. I said Kevin, Lori, Mark. Sorry, right. Damon. He knows this space.
Yeah.
He can scale it. He sees the potential in it.
He can.
And I think that I don't know. I think this was a great deal.
I agree.
I think it was. Any final thoughts? Combat flip flop.
It was good. I want some.
This week's update.
Really we want to see you here.
I know. I really want these guys to come in. This week's update was Turbo Pup. I don't know if you guys remember. It's the dog meal on the go in the bar form, and they got to deal with PetSmart. 700 stores. And the year to date, $200,000 in sales post tank.
There you go.
So that is episode 16.
Wow. Yes, of season 7.
There it is. Yes. Tell the people where they can find you, James Lott Jr.
You can find me on Black Hope LA on Twitter and James Lott Jr. everywhere else. And the Super Organizer Universe is my blog, and the superorganizer.com is my website.
Get organized. By the way, you need it more than you think you do. You can find me, Chris Howard, at Chris Howard Live, or you can go to legendarylivingdaily.com for daily tips, stuff, inspirational, motivational, that type of thing, or legendarylivingtv.com for my YouTube channel.
I need a cooler name.
You
Legendary. I need to put
Cameron Effect.
The Cameron Effect.
That's way too cool.
Hey, tweet me at the only Cam Shaft, Twitter and Instagram. Hashtag the Cameron Effect. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to that podcast, ABTV Shark Tank. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.